on government's failed attempts at finding a buyer for Air India, which has prompted the finance ministry to contemplate on an IPO. But recent history shows that the primary market has not been too kicked about public sector units. In fact, the last 5 government IPOs have been bailed out by public sector financial institutions like LIC. It may be different this time around, but Soumeet Sarkar, who's put together all the data, joins in now with the details. Soumeet, it's definitely going to be an uphill task.
Yes, it could be, given the fact that Air India is not profitable and also has a huge debt on its book. Now, if you see the last 5 government IPOs that hit the primary market, Mishra Dhatu Nigam, Hindustan Aeronautics, Bharat Dynamics, New India Assurance and General Insurance Corporation. All these 5 companies' revenue grew at a compounded annual growth rate of 5 to 42% from FY13 to FY17. And on the net profit front, if you see, it grew at a CAGR of around 4 to 15%. Now, Hindustan Aeronautics here saw a fall of around 5%. Now, that is because of lower other income and higher tax expense in FY17. On the operational front also, if you see, all the companies were profitable. Now, if you see the return ratios for these 5 companies, now the return on equity and return on capital employed was in the range of around 8 to 22%. Now, return on equity for Mishra Dhatu Nigam was 18%, HAL was around 21%, Bharat Dynamics 22%, New India Assurance and General Insurance Corp 8 and 18%, ROC was in the range of 8 to 22%. For Mishra Dhatu Nigam around 15%, HAL 10%, General Insurance Corporation 22%. Now, despite these factors, the subscription ratio for these 5 IPOs was only 1 times, and more importantly, these 5 companies raised close to around 26,472 crore rupees, and of that 26,000 crore, nearly 62% was funded by government companies. Now, Mishra Dhatu Nigam raised close to 438 crore rupees, of which 252 crore rupees was funded by government companies. And in this fund infusion, LIC played a major role. For Hindustan Aeronautics, out of 4,100, 2,844 crore rupees was provided by government companies. For Bharat Dynamics, out of 961, 175. For New India Assurance, out of 9,600, close to 7,400. And for General Insurance Corp, from 11,300, close to 5,641 crore rupees was funded by government companies in these IPOs.
Wow. So
that's 62% of the total amount raised by these 5 companies.
Why doesn't it surprise me, Soumeet? But having said that, so you mentioned that it might be an uphill task because of the debt, etc., etc. So how do Air India's financials or the numbers shape up?
Now, if you see Air India's financials, the company's revenue, now this is the revenue of Air India and Air India Express, it has grown at a compounded annual growth rate of 9% over FY13 to FY17, right? From 17,800 crore rupees in FY13, it grew to around 25,100 crore rupees in FY17. On the operational and on the bottom line front, the company has been making losses. From FY13 to FY17, the company has been reporting net loss in the range of around 5,800 to 3,400 crore rupees. On the operational front, however, the company managed to turn profitable in the last 3 financial years. That is from FY15 to FY17. But again, we see a drop here in FY17 as compared to FY16. Now, on the balance sheet side, if you see, the company has a huge debt of around 48,000 crore rupees as of FY17, and the net worth of the company has been negative, and for FY17 it was close to 21,000 crore rupees. Now, if you see here, the debt number for Air India has come down a bit compared to the past. That is because of the fund infusions done by the government to repay the debt. That's the only reason why the debt has come down. Now, if you see, lastly, if you see, what are the factors that could be that could interest investors to bet on Air India's IPO? Firstly is that the 30% of the debt backed. Now, out of the 48,000, 30% is backed by its asset. That is the 86 owned and leased aircrafts of Air India. Secondly is the unabsorbed depreciation. That is close to around 32,000 crore rupees. Now, this unabsorbed depreciation means that whenever Air India gets profitable, and only if it gets profitable, the company will not have to pay any taxes. It can consume that unabsorbed depreciation of 32,000 crore rupees. And lastly, and the important one that could interest investors in Air India's IPO, that is the premium international and domestic slots that the company has, and which is hard to get by now. Now, it has around 4,000 domestic slots in 54 destinations and close to 2,800 international primetime slots in around 39 destinations. So this is the important asset that Air India has and which could interest investors.
But that could interest somebody who is more like an airline, right? I mean, why would an equity investor be interested in the kind of slots that that Air India would have?
Because other airlines don't have that kind of slots. So
in the hope that somebody else will come in at some point of time.
Exactly.
Okay. Interesting to put this into perspective. Soumeet Sarkar, thanks so much for doing that.